MVP got his hand raised, took the cameras, took the interviews, and now that victory lap is officially over. Because the UFC is about to do something nobody thought possible a few years ago. They're putting a fight card on the White House lawn. Not Vegas, not Abu Dhabi, the actual White House. And UFC Freedom 250 might become the most chaotic event in mixed martial arts history. This matters way bigger than one fight card. This is Dana White trying to turn the UFC into a cultural superpower. We're talking title fights, massive political attention, military flyovers, celebrity attendance, and a card designed to look like pure American spectacle. But here's the crazy part. Some fans think the lineup is legendary. Others think it's all smoke and mirrors. So today, we're breaking down everything you need to know about UFC Freedom 250, the fights, the stakes, the controversies, and why this card could either change mixed martial arts forever or completely backfire. The main event is exactly the kind of chaos this card needed. Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje for the lightweight title. And honestly, this feels like the UFC matchmaking room said, what's the most violent possible option? Topuria comes in undefeated at 16-0. He knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, then followed it by starching Max Holloway. Nobody has ever knocked out Holloway before. That alone changed how fans look at him. He's not just technical anymore. He's terrifying. Then there's Gaethje, human car crash, highlight machine, the guy who somehow turns every fight into a near-death experience. Even at 37, he still fights like rent's due tomorrow. Interim champion, massive power, leg kicks from hell. The matchup itself is insane because Topuria is cleaner everywhere. Better boxing mechanics, better defense, sharper timing. But Gaethje only needs one clean connection to flip the entire event upside down. And remember, this isn't happening in a normal arena. This is outdoors, on the South Lawn, under lights, with global media watching every second. That pressure changes people. And if Gaethje wins, the White House card instantly becomes one of the UFC's biggest moments ever. But the co-main might actually carry higher stakes. Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane for the interim heavyweight belt. Pereira moving to heavyweight feels like watching a cheat code get tested. The man already became champion at middleweight and light heavyweight. Now he's trying for a third division title. That's insane territory. The problem is Gane might be the worst possible style matchup for him. People clown Gane because of the Jon Jones loss. Fair enough. Jones submitted him in barely 2 minutes. But outside of that, Gane's movement at heavyweight is ridiculous. He fights like a middleweight trapped inside a giant body. Pereira's left hook changes lives, but Gane's footwork could make this awkward fast. If Alex can't trap him early, we could get 5 rounds of Pereira chasing air while Gane point fights from range. Still, Pereira at heavyweight just feels massive. Every stare down, every clip, every punch, it all looks cinematic, and that's exactly why he's on this card. Quick question though, if Pereira wins another belt, where does he rank among the greatest combat sports athletes ever? That debate gets nuclear immediately. Now let's talk about the fight fans can't agree on. Sean O'Malley versus Ayman Zahabi. Now, a lot of people expected a bigger opponent for O'Malley. Some wanted Corey Sandhagen. Others wanted Peter Yan again. Instead, the UFC went with Zahabi, and fans instantly called it a setup fight. But here's the thing. Zahabi has quietly become one of the smarter fighters at bantamweight. Tight boxing, good composure, strong coaching from the TriStar system. He's not flashy, but he's disciplined. O'Malley's still the star, though. The hair, the movement, the sniper counters, the social media machine. The UFC clearly wants him attached to this event because visually, he fits the spectacle. And don't ignore the pressure here. O'Malley's coming off inconsistent momentum after losing the title to Merab Dvalishvili. He needs a statement performance badly. Because if he loses on the White House lawn, that clip follows him forever. Another sleeper fight everybody should watch is Mauricio Ruffi versus Michael Chandler. This feels like the UFC feeding old violence to new violence. Chandler still fights like every round is the final scene of an action movie. He explodes forward, throws everything, and trusts durability to carry him through. Problem is, mileage catches everybody eventually. Ruffi's younger, faster, and way more unpredictable. The striking is nasty, the confidence is real, and this has serious passing of the torch energy. If Chandler loses badly here, retirement talks get loud immediately. But if he wins, Suddenly he's back in massive fights again, because that's just how the UFC works. One thing people aren't talking about enough is the logistics. This event is reportedly expected to host around 4,000 invited attendees near the White House itself, while huge crowds watch nearby fan events around Washington. Security will be insane. There are even reports the UFC had to solve outdoor production issues involving insects swarming the lighting setup. That sounds fake, but apparently it's real. And honestly, that weirdness almost adds to the appeal, because this card already feels surreal. Fighter walkouts at the White House, military presence, politicians cage side, a giant UFC octagon planted on one of the most recognizable properties on Earth. Love it or hate it, nobody's ignoring it. That's the key. There's also a bigger UFC strategy happening here. Dana White isn't selling this as just another pay-per-view. He's selling a moment. Something historic. Something people remember 10 years later. That's why the card leans toward recognizable personalities and violent styles. Topuria, Gaethje, Pereira, O'Malley, Chandler. These are fighters casual fans instantly understand. No slow-burn matchmaking. No complicated contender math. Just spectacle. And honestly, it might work perfectly, because combat sports has always thrived on moments bigger than sports itself. Tyson in Tokyo, McGregor in New York, UFC 100 in Vegas. This feels like the next evolution of that idea. But there's still one giant risk. If the fights disappoint, the entire thing becomes a meme. Fans already complain the card isn't as stacked as Dana promised. No Jon Jones, no Conor McGregor, no Islam Makhachev. Expectations are dangerously high. And that brings us back to the original question. Is UFC Freedom 250 actually the future of mixed martial arts, or just the most expensive flex Dana White has ever attempted? Here's my take. The card itself is good, not perfect. But the event? The event is genius. People who never watch mixed martial arts are going to tune in just to see how insane this looks. That matters. UFC isn't chasing hardcore fans anymore. They already have them. They're chasing mainstream history. And if even two fights deliver classic moments, this card becomes untouchable. So now the question goes to you. Is UFC Freedom 250 the coolest idea the UFC's ever had, or the biggest gimmick in company history?